Atlanta United Fan TV here with Marc. We're back. MLS is back, and it's really obviously not a great scoreline as we lost 1-0 and looked fairly disjointed throughout most of it. Put on a little bit of some surge late at the end. Had our chances, didn't really put them away, but Red Bull, they that early goal, and then we go down and we just cannot muster up anything that hit the back of the net. But what did you think of the match?
Well, this tournament is called MLS is back. MLS wouldn't really be back unless we're losing to Red Bull during regular season. So things are back to normal in that regard. Another struggle against Red Bulls, another struggle against the press. I can't say any of that's particularly surprising. I don't want to say predicted, but I'm not surprised that Red Bull scored the first goal. It's just one of those situations where I think the way they play, they're more sure about how they're going to play. Those young guys that I assume one or two of them have come through the academy. They definitely, have that Red Bull DNA. So I think what you saw is maybe a team that weren't at their best, right? But I think they had a bit more cohesion than we did, and I think that was the main difference. Figured we would also possibly, hopefully, get better as the match went along. I think that did happen to a degree. I think some of that had to do with the subs, and I think that, I guess, leads to the discussion about the lineup.
Yeah, especially, yes. How we lined up and big omissions in Barco and Rbny, and definitely left some people scratching their heads, especially after you see how we played. It seemed like we had a Barco-sized hole, and then we had a Rbny-sized hole. We try to maybe reason why Frank de Boer kind of went the way he did. What do you think?
I think he's heard recently about that knock that Barco, I think, picked up in training maybe about a week ago. So maybe that end of it was precautionary. I know towards the end of last season, Rbny wasn't getting selected as regularly. So that maybe there's something there. Maybe there's a reason why De Boer opted for Mo Adams instead of to pair Mo Adams with Hyman instead of Rbny and Hyman. Maybe there's something about the partnership that he likes, but I really can't tell what that is, honestly, because just not sure what Mo, with all due respect, really offers you. He's not. In theory, I think he's a holding midfielder, more defensive presence. In reality, he's not really. He played versus the Club America, right? And didn't go too well. So, I would have started with Rbny. I think the thing for me was that our possession was totally harmless. It was passing from center back to center back to center back to wing back to one of the forwards coming wide, and then resorting across as a long ball. So it was just no penetration into the middle. I think Rbny, you would have seen and connect, come and collect the ball from the center backs at least, and try to connect through the middle with Hyman and with Barco if he had played. And I think that we definitely missed an inside forward and a midfielder who would in between the lines look to combine, look to turn on a player, take players on. I think Barco kind of offers you all of that, and I think you were kind of missing that. I think, especially in the first half, the most promising moments or moves really came through PD. Really, truly, there just was no end product. Manuel Castro just had a pretty unfortunate day. It just wasn't his day, I think, as a striker, you might have one of those misses that game, and that might haunt you. He had 2 or 3 of those, and it just wasn't his day.
Right. Yeah, I mean Castro. Yeah, unfortunate heavy touches, and I'm sure he's not maybe the favorite of some fans right now. But yeah, hopefully he can come back strong in the next game and do some bits to kind of kind of reclaim that a little bit. But in terms of lacking that focal point, lacking that end product. I don't know if you're super into XG or whatnot, but apparently New York Red Bull, they had, I think, something between a 1.62 or something like that XG, and then Atlanta United had something like 1.48. So it was pretty level at the end of the day in terms of the quality of chances. Of course, Guzan, maybe kind of help that as well in terms of some big saves, right? But
surprised Red Bulls isn't higher, right? Yeah,
right. Like it's pretty, amazing to see that kind of pretty level stat line in terms of XG. So I mean, did you feel like it was that close? Did you feel like it was just needing us to put away a goal and we would feel much better about the results and the performance? Or
if you want to. Well, I just want to say, first of all, of course I love XG, AJ. You know this, but one of the things, I think there's the big chances stat, which I don't necessarily always look at, but I do like when you think of a match in retrospect, right? Especially right after the game, you think of the big chances, right? You think of the Guzan saves, of course, the Red Bulls goal. Then I think of Bello hitting the bar. I think of the John chance at the end, which I think he did really well to earn, the hang time he got, that header, and he wasn't able to beat the keeper. Other than that, you have the Castro chances, right? And that's like 2 or 3 right there. And so I think that's where you look at that and you say Joseph would have scored those, and that's pretty hard to avoid. I think in terms of holes as well, and particularly holes from players that we no longer have the services of, I think it's pretty hard to ignore that we missed Darlington Nagbe when really not that far into the post-Nagbe era. I mean, we've still only played a handful of matches without Darlington Nagbe, and really most of the games that we've played, thinking about Motagua, Cincinnati, Nashville, it's really against opponents that are just not up to our level. So that's something that we're just going to have to cope with as a team going forward. We're hoping that Josetu can be that Nagbe replacement a little bit, but he wasn't able to get into the game today in the same way that he was able to in previous appearances. I think a lot of that, in terms of him not getting onto the ball, to do with the fact that our build-up play was so, it was just insipid, just no penetration whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, going into FC Cincy, is there some glimmer at the end of the tunnel, or is it the just everything a little bit more doom and gloom than you expected? What do you think?
Like I said, I expected a bit of a struggle from LA United today. And I'm not surprised that Red Bulls were able to get the early goal. I was hoping we'd be able to tie it, but it is what it is. Cincinnati is still a team that Atlanta United should beat. It's also a team that they played in this calendar year. So, however much you can take from that, you try to. But I think they ought to, just in terms of the on-paper matchup, they ought to be able to beat Cincinnati. If they struggle against Cincinnati, then it's it's a real issue. But at the same time, I don't know. It's a fault de Boer for experimenting in these circumstances. At the end of the day, this is a made-up tournament. Just what we have for now. Will we have more soccer this year? We'll see. So I think just in terms of looking ahead to, what is it, Thursday? Probably beat Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Well, appreciate it, Mark. Thank you for your time. We'll chat with you later.